I'm going to go ahead and get started. People can continue to trickle in. That's totally fine. But good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's professional development series. Tonight, we are talking exclusively about LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is huge, and you can do a lot of different things with LinkedIn. So tonight, we're going to be even more specifically narrowing down certain things about LinkedIn. If you have come to any of our other professional development series workshops already, you will have seen I facilitated one of the first weeks of school all about a job search. So virtual job search, and LinkedIn was certainly a part of that. I showed you a couple of other platforms, but we did a deep dive into LinkedIn's job search feature. And then also, Amy Odom facilitated a networking workshop on LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago as well, where you were able to see how to connect with alumni, how to search for alumni, and how to search for other folks that way. So if you're coming tonight and you're like, darn it, I wish Amy was going to cover that. I'm not, but know that both of those workshops are accessible to you on our website, businesscareers.appstate.edu, and under I think it's called webinars right now because we're doing it all virtually. But you can access those recordings under webinars and know that that information will be available to you. So tonight, what are we going to be covering about LinkedIn? We're going to be covering, I've kind of divided it into 4 different chunks, and hoping that you all are obviously all on a computer and or smartphone. So really want to treat this as a full-on workshop in the true meaning of workshop, where we will all be working on our LinkedIn profiles together. For the majority of this session, I'm going to be sharing my screen with you, specifically my own LinkedIn profile, and maybe even editing some things as we go along there. So please go ahead and be logging into LinkedIn if you haven't done that on this device that you're on already. I know every single time I log on to LinkedIn on a device that's not my actual computer, I have to reset my password. So if that's you this evening, go ahead and do that. Get logged into LinkedIn. If for some reason you don't have an account, you can make one for free. It's really easy. But I would venture to say if you're at this workshop, you already have an account. But if not, that's okay. It's pretty straightforward to set one up. But a little bit about why we are doing this tonight. A lot of it, frankly, y'all, is because of the pandemic and how much more LinkedIn is being used during the pandemic. Before COVID, LinkedIn was certainly a bread and butter for recruiters, but now we have heard over and over and over again from them that this is a tool that they're using now more than ever, saying that 87% of recruiters are using LinkedIn to find candidates. So that means they are using LinkedIn to reach out to people before candidates have a chance to even reach out to them. So recruiters who have a position to fill that may not be getting the applicant pool that they want are automatically looking to LinkedIn to do that, 87%. And then even higher than that, 94% of recruiters use LinkedIn as a vetting tool for their existing candidates. So if you've applied to a job and maybe you've had an interview, you can just about guarantee that over 9 times out of 10, there is a recruiter that is using the LinkedIn feature to look at your profile, look at what you've shared, look at what you're doing, look at what you have done in the past. LinkedIn recruiters are using all of those things. So that's why we're opening this up tonight. So the four sections that we're going to go over tonight, the first one is going to be a profile tune-up. So if you've taken BUS 2000 or BUS 2001, you've created a profile, but tonight I want us to look at a couple more specific things and do a profile tune-up. The next thing we're going to do is talk about your news feed and your notifications and how to interact with content on LinkedIn, because it's slightly different than any other social media platform, and you want to interact with it differently than any other platform as well. The third thing is going to be following pages and joining groups. So if you haven't done this already, I'm going to encourage you to do so and show you some of the benefits of doing that and some other things to follow as well. And then the final thing we're going to talk about is you posting on LinkedIn and what's the best kind of content to share and what's the best way to share that content. So those are our 4 areas. So with that being said, really want to cater to what you all are looking for here as well. In those categories, is there anything specific that you're like, Annie, I really, really want you to touch on that? Anything?
I have one.
Yeah.
Could you touch on how to, like with the profile tune-up, of how to make sure that it's something that distinctively catches the recruiter's eye and kind of separates us from the pack?
Absolutely. Absolutely can do that. Anybody else? Anything specific within those categories that you're like, Annie, if you only have time for this, please let it be this?
I guess like, okay, I've never really used LinkedIn before. I'm a sophomore, so I guess how to use it best, like I go to FSA meetings, and different other, business, whatever business meetings, and they're always like, add these people on LinkedIn and like reach out to them. Like, how do you do that without being awkward? Like, and should you, or what does that mean?
Yeah, we will absolutely talk about that. That's a great question. How do I do this without being awkward? Because sometimes it does feel really awkward reaching out to someone who's a stranger, right? And especially when you're not in some type in the same physical space where you're kind of by default shaking hands or have something in common, right? Absolutely, we'll get to that question. That's a great question. Anybody else before we dive into our profile tune-up? All righty, excellent, excellent. So I am going to try and share my screen with you here and kind of do the thumbs up thing again if you see my LinkedIn profile. We looking good? Excellent. Excellent. So this is my very own LinkedIn profile. And what I would like for you all to do is, if possible, to pull up your LinkedIn profile as well, whether that's on this same device, whether you can pull it up, even if you have the app on a smartphone or a tablet, and can work from that as we go through here as well. That way you can just see what I'm talking about as we go through each individual piece. So the first thing we're going to talk about is our profile tune-up. So if you will follow me to my profile or go ahead and go to your own profile, there's a few things that I want to point out. So again, coming at this from the perspective of a recruiter is going to have a certain set of filters that they are filtering candidates on, just the same way that you filter jobs, right? So when you filter for a job, you are filtering for things like industry, you're filtering for things like title, you're filtering for things like geographic location, you're filtering for certain keywords, maybe a certification that you have, and recruiters are doing the exact same thing, except rather than filtering for jobs, they are filtering for candidates. So as we think about our profile tune-up right here, I want us to think about what are the very first things that a recruiter sees. And the very first things that a recruiter sees, even before they click on your profile, are your photo, your name, and your headline. So if you have not put a photo on your LinkedIn, I'm going to highly encourage you to do that. Mine is a stuffy headshot with a plain black background. Yours does not have to be that. If you've got one that you really like, then absolutely, absolutely include that. But if you don't have a headshot and maybe the only background you have are some trees outside or a solid wall outside of your apartment or something like that, go ahead, have a friend take a photo of you, avoid selfies, avoid cropping other people out of your photos, and make sure that you can clearly see your face, but go ahead and upload a photo, even if you haven't had a chance to have a professional headshot at Business Connections or something else like that. The next thing is your name. That's pretty straightforward. Make sure it's the same name that's on your application materials. So if you've got your middle initial in there, then put it there. If you have a nickname that you're putting on all of your other application materials, put that on there as well, but make sure that your name here matches up with your application materials. It's going to make you more searchable. And then the final thing is your headline. So when you are in BUS 2001, we encourage you to put 2 different things in your headline. One is your major field of study, and then the other one is when you are going to graduate. I still encourage you to put both of those things in your headline, again, because they are searchable. When a recruiter is going to filter candidates according to an industry by having finance and banking, or by having risk management and insurance, or by having economics in your headline, you're automatically making yourself more searchable. But if you want to add something in addition to that, I would absolutely encourage you to do so. And just some examples of that are, if you have a specific skill set or a specific software or another specific hard skill that you think is really applicable to the majority of jobs that you're looking for, not just one single job, but is applicable to the majority of jobs you're looking for, then by all means, go ahead and include that in your headline as well. An example of that could be if you are a master level Excel user, and that's a great thing to put here. I can think of plenty of other hard skills, and if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about what to include in your headline that way. But definitely as many of those keywords as you can fit in there as possible is going to make you more searchable. You do have a limit to your headline. I believe it's 120 characters. But be sure to include that major field of study. I still encourage that, but if there's something more specific in there that you want to include, then by all means, go ahead and include that as well. The next thing you want to make sure set are your locations, your skills, and your groups. Statistically, these are some of the top things that a recruiter looks for. So your location can be edited. If you click this pencil, you can edit most things on your profile. But here, for example, I have my postal code and my location is Boone, North Carolina, because I'm not looking to leave. I'm looking to stay in Boone, North Carolina. But this geographic location could be a location where you are interested in working, in a location where you call your permanent residence or is home for you. This location can be any of those. And the reason I encourage you to, rather than putting Boone, North Carolina, putting the location you are looking for or looking for a job in, rather, that is going to be more searchable for employers looking for candidates in that area. For example, Charlotte, Raleigh, New York City, Atlanta, go ahead and include that there as well. Any questions so far? I know I'm going kind of fast.
How do you
oh, go ahead.
how do you put like a double major? Like how should like you type that? I don't know if that's like a
what are your 2 majors?
Finance and banking and risk management and insurance.
Okay, so that's really, really long, right?
Yeah.
So I would encourage you to shorten those. So maybe you put finance and insurance, or finance and risk management, or banking and insurance. I would encourage you to shorten those. That's a really good point. Good question.
Okay.
What was the other question?
So this might apply to other Walker Fellows here as well, but I've got my Walker Fellows like title as my line, kind of like you have assistant director and instructor.
Sure.
Will that kind of deter recruiters? Will they kind of infer that that's already a position, that I'm not open to new positions, or what's kind of your opinion on that?
No, that's a great question, Hannah. So I would say that is absolutely a worthwhile headline if, and only if, it is associated to the industry that you are looking to have your next step, right? So I know, just because I know you, Hannah, I know you're into HR, right? So if HR or a term in association with HR is that headline, absolutely keep it. It shows that you have experience in that area. As far as employers looking for you to be available or not available, there's going to be another way for you to show them that. So if you have a current title, absolutely, that is associated with the industry you're looking to continue in, right? So I would be wary of putting things like, maybe lawn care or babysitting or those type of things, unless you're looking to continue in that field. But be sure to narrow that down in your headline, and then we'll touch on how to show recruiters you're open to work here in a minute. Good question.
Okay, so I don't need to say like the seeking summer internship thing like we did.
No, there's other ways on LinkedIn for you to show recruiters that. Yes.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Annie.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, kind of playing off of what Hannah said. So like hers, I'm also like an HR for Walker Fellows.
Awesome.
But I don't want to go into that industry. I'm more into supply chain management.
Okay.
So my tagline does say my current position at Walker Fellows, but I have a supply chain internship. Should I use that to advertise there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Still, and do not take this as absolutely keep your Walker Fellow experience on your profile.
Okay.
Do not delete that off your profile. We're just talking about the headline here because you have an ultra limited amount of space.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
You got to be pickier. Yeah, sure. Any other questions before we keep moving on? Cool. All right, so the next thing we're going to be talking about is skills and groups, and then also how to set your career interests. So for skills, those are going to be towards the bottom of your profile. And these are things that you are able to plug in yourself. So here you can, again, click the pencil, add a new skill, and pin these as skills that you feel that you have. And once you do that, this is also a place where people can endorse you. We go over this in 2001 as well, so I don't want to stick on this too long, but know that these are terms that also a recruiter can and does filter by, right? So in their set of filters, just like you're filtering, okay, I want a job in Charlotte, North Carolina, recruiters are going through and saying, okay, I want communication skills. Okay, I want this, I want this, I want this. These are specific things that they're filtering by. So please be sure to designate some of those and endorse other folks so that they will endorse you as well. The next thing we're going to talk about are your career interests, and that is up here closer to the top. At the very top of your profile section, you should see this that says show recruiters you're open to work, and you control who sees this. That's one place you can find it, but another place you can find it is in settings and privacy. And what it looks like when you pull that up is this. So there will be things, tell us what kind of work you're open to. So by default, because my title says adjunct instructor, it's saying that of course you're going to be interested in similar positions, but you also have the ability to click add title and type in whatever you want. So career coach, or think about other titles that are in your industry. Most of you probably aren't looking for career coaching jobs. Same with job location, it's automatically going to plug in where you already are. But let's say I wanted to branch out to the Charlotte metro area. Again, Atlanta, LA, New York, Tennessee, whatever. The next thing you are going to fill out, I don't actually want to put that, so I'm not actually going to click OK. So the next thing is when you can start. So if you're actively applying or if you're just casually browsing, the types of jobs you're looking for. So if you're looking for just an internship for the summer, if you're looking for remote work, if you're looking for part-time work in Boone, you can add all of those things to your profile. And then the final thing you can do is say you want to share this with all LinkedIn members or you want to share with recruiters only. A time to really keep this in mind is later on in your careers when you already have a job secured and you might be looking for a new opportunity, but don't want your colleagues or your boss to know yet, right? So if you are just now open to any work, I would encourage you to share that with all LinkedIn members because that means your entire network is going to see it. Maybe again, later on, if you have a position and you're looking for a new position, but don't want to share that information yet, that would be a time you would want to share with recruiters only. But right now, when you're just looking for those first opportunities, I would encourage you to let everyone in your network know that you're open to work. Any questions about this section? Excellent. This is a fairly new feature of your LinkedIn profile. I would say within the last 12 to 18-ish months. So this is, again, a new section that recruiters can filter on. It's not just in your headline. All right. The next thing about your profile tune-up that I want to talk about is your about section. So this is another thing that recruiters cannot filter just on an about section, but they can search for keywords that can be found in your about section. So for this, all I want to touch on is there is no one right way to create your about section. There are certainly some wrong ways, but there is no one single correct way to do this. There are plenty of examples. There are plenty of folks that you can look at to get inspiration from. But overall, the one thing that I want to encourage you to have in this about section are the keywords that you're seeing in job descriptions, right? So this is going to require that you're not just looking at one job description, you're not just looking at one opportunity, but you're looking at several different ones and seeing what themes go throughout, right? So if you are looking for a job, I believe it was, I'm not sure who said they were looking for supply chain management, but thinking about the sum total of supply chain management internships you've seen and jobs you've seen, what are some of the skills? What are some of the hard skills? What are some of the soft skills that you see in most of those job descriptions, and looking to highlight those specific words in your about section. All righty. Any questions about your profile tune-up? Alrighty, we ready to move on to newsfeed and notifications? Cool. All right, so here you're still seeing my profile, right? Thumbs up. Yes, awesome. Thanks, guys. So I'm going to take you here to my home screen. So here on my home screen is my newsfeed. This is really, really similar to other social media platforms and other networking platforms as well. Your feed is full of content from several different places and for several different reasons. So really similar to other news feeds or suggested things on the internet these days. How many of you have watched The Social Dilemma? No? Caleb, yes, my man.
Oh, yeah. It was awesome. It was a good documentary. Highly recommend.
Okay, so for those of you who haven't watched The Social Dilemma, it is a documentary about algorithms and programs that are used to place content onto your news feed as a user of different applications, right? That's a weird way of me saying it is a system that takes what you've clicked on before and then feeds you things that are similar to that on your news feed. And LinkedIn's algorithms do the exact same thing. They are updated and programmed to show you who you interact with the most and who you have the most interest in and who you've shown the most interest in on LinkedIn. And the way you show that interest is by interacting with posts and interacting with different people on LinkedIn. It's a really similar concept to, this is kind of scary, but Amazon Prime Day is today, right? And today I was looking for a new coffee grinder because mine is terrible. And so I look at this coffee grinder on Amazon. I'm not like, I don't, buy it, but I log on to LinkedIn later and there's an advertisement for that same coffee grinder. LinkedIn does something really, really similar, but with things just within the site. So how you want to cater your newsfeed, you have some control of what you see on your newsfeed because you do have control with the posts you interact with, right? So I want to just scroll through and show you some of examples of things that I see on my newsfeed and the types of content that you'll see on your newsfeed. So this very first thing, for example, is a post that was written originally by this gal named Jenna. Love her, follow her, have followed her on LinkedIn for a really long time, have had the opportunity to talk with her a few times as well. So this is some original content that she has written and posted. This next thing is a content from a company that has been promoted to me, really similar to other sites, right? So I must have liked a company similar to Brazen or who knows what, that's being suggested to my feed. The next thing is a connection that I have that has been promoted. Tori has been promoted to experience coordinator. And here you can see that I have certain options of how to interact with this post, really similar. So I can like it, I can celebrate it, I can support it, I can love it. For now, we'll just celebrate Tori, tell her that's a great job. Continue to go down. These are certain articles that people are sharing, blog posts that people are sharing, job opportunities that people are sharing. And meanwhile, I'm seeing how other people I'm connected with may have also interacted with this content. So my colleague, Maureen, has liked this post recently. So those are the types of things that you're going to see on your newsfeed. Similarly, you are going to see similar things in your notifications. So, for example, in your notifications, you will see when someone is specifically interacting with you. So just like when somebody likes your Instagram photo, somebody likes or shares retweets a tweet, I don't know. Really similar to that, here I see where my connection has mentioned you in her LinkedIn story. So I'll know that that's specifically to do with me. I'll look at that later for the purpose of the workshop. Somebody has endorsed me. I see those things. I see that people are viewing my profile. I see that other people are reacting to posts. I see things that I'm not inherently interacting with, but that LinkedIn is suggesting for me to click on, right? And in addition to this, here we see Tori's promotion again, but we also see my connection, Camden. We see they're celebrating 2 years at a certain institution or a certain workplace. And so I can click to say congrats, and that's going to be a personal message. Again, I'm not going to do that for now. Or I can click on this and it's going to take me to the post where, again, I can interact with liking, supporting, so on and so forth. So the reason I want to show you these things is one of the ways to curate your newsfeed to be things that you want to see and to make yourself more visible is by interacting with the content on your newsfeed and the content that comes to your notifications. It continues to feed into what you're seeing and how you're being seen. So first off, what you are seeing comes into play is I see more content of the companies that I like and the people that I'm connected to, but I am now seeing content and activity from my colleague Maureen, not because she interacted with any post that I had to be a part of, but that she has interacted with a post, period. So by interacting with content, you are not only making yourself more seen, but you're curating what you are going to continue to see on LinkedIn as well. So as you go through, I would really encourage you, do not let LinkedIn be the place where you just simply scroll. When you set aside time to be on LinkedIn, when you click on that LinkedIn app on your phone, make sure that you are willing to go through and interact with some things. So now we're going to go back and I'm going to say, congrats, Tori. I know those women are lucky to have you. And I'm going to post that as some more engagement on my LinkedIn feed. We continue to scroll through. I see that Catawba Valley Staffing, they are looking for some folks. And so I'm going to like that. And maybe I might go back and share that to my newsfeed if I know some students that are looking for some work in Catawba County. Again, you are going to be able to personalize this and use this however you feel is best, but just trying to give you some suggestions for interacting with content, both on your newsfeed and in your notifications. Any questions about that? Alrighty, cool. Cool. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is further curating your newsfeed by following pages, people, and hashtags. So how many of you are a part of, or excuse me, how many of you have gone through and liked some prospective companies on LinkedIn? Awesome. What are some examples of those companies that y'all follow? I'm going to take this opportunity to take a drink of water.
Ralph Lauren.
Ralph Lauren, nice. Who else?
CommScope.
CommScope. Excellent, excellent. Anybody else?
JP Morgan.
JP Morgan, awesome. So let's look at Ralph Lauren, because I'm not sure that I like it. I'm pretty sure I already like CommScope and JP. So just want to show you what it looks like to like a page and or to follow a page. So when you type in a company, any company, the page is going to look really, really similar to this, their profile, where you can click follow. And what that means is that their content is going to start to show up on your newsfeed and maybe in your notifications. Another cool thing about following a page is you can see specifically how many people from your school were hired here. So you can see how many people from Appalachian work at Ralph Lauren or have worked at Ralph Lauren in the past. So we can click on that and see who works there, what their titles are, and if you want to connect with them. So I believe this is a question that I had at the beginning. Again, I'm sorry, I don't remember who, but talking about how to reach out to people on LinkedIn and how to network on LinkedIn. This is an excellent place to start. You all are a part of a university and a part of a college with alumni that like to look out for their own, right? So Mountaineers love to support Mountaineers, and Mountaineers want to see more Mountaineers where they are working. By and large, this is fully true. So this is a great place to start looking for people to reach out to if you're interested in a certain company or you're interested in a specific industry as well. So take some time and scroll through here. You will see, let's look specifically. I see that Rachel Marquis is a merchandising assistant at Ralph Lauren. It looks like she lives in New York City, and maybe that's something I'm interested in. So she's somebody that I want to reach out to. So if I click connect here, I can click that I want to add a note to this as well. It's limited to 300 characters, but this is a space where you can say, hey, Rachel, my name is Annie. I'm currently a marketing major in the College of Business and have some questions about getting into the fashion industry. Would you happen to have some time to talk about this? Best Annie. So again, not asking for any favors, but asking for advice. Alumni love, love, love to give advice. And we have seen so many good conversations and so many good connections and even jobs come from students doing just this. So that's one reason to follow businesses. The next thing I want to encourage you to do is follow people. So are there any people out there that you aspire to be like, or maybe you have read their books or read their content or listened to their podcast? Is there anybody out there that you all would want to follow on LinkedIn? Give me some examples.
Bigger Pockets.
One more time.
Bigger Pockets.
How do you spell their name?
Bigger, well, it's like a podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, Bigger Pockets Real Estate.
Okay.
BIGGER, and then pockets, like pant. Yeah, there
we
it
go. So that's somebody that you can connect with, or you can click follow there and follow the content that is posted. And every profile is going to have that. Awesome. The last thing I want to encourage you to follow are hashtags. So how many of you have ever searched hashtags on another type of social media? Yeah. What are some examples of hashtags that you follow there?
I follow like Yellowstone for the national park.
Nice. I bet you get some beautiful photos of that.
Yeah, and also I love the TV show Yellowstone, so it kind of gives me a good feed.
There you go. There you go. Love that. Love that. So LinkedIn is the same way. So over here to the left side, you can see some, you can see some hashtags that I have recently searched, and you can see some hashtags that I have followed. So some examples for me, just what I'm interested in are higher education, career development, vocational education, but you can type in whatever hashtag you might be interested in. So again, can somebody give me an example of a hashtag to follow?
Student success.
Student, look at that. You're not the first one to search that, Zoe. So let's see what pops up. We're gonna see all kinds of things. So the very first thing you can do is follow. And so now your newsfeed, whether or not you have followed the company, whether or not you have followed the individual, you will start to be given posts that include this hashtag, student success. So you can see it looks like maybe some blog posts, it looks like some articles, maybe some magazines, a certificate that someone has shared of their accomplishment. These are the types of things that you're going to start seeing on your newsfeed that people have included a hashtag in. So this is, I feel like, one of the most underrated followed things on LinkedIn. Oftentimes we think to follow groups, oftentimes we think to follow companies. But oftentimes by following hashtags, we will by default be introduced to people, opportunities, and companies that we would not have heard about otherwise. Alrighty, any questions about that? Okay. Alrighty. The last thing that I want to talk about, and then I'd love to open it up just for wider questions, any questions you all may have about LinkedIn. The last thing I want to talk about is posting. So we've talked about how in order to make yourself more visible, you can interact with content, but another way to make yourself more visible on LinkedIn is to create content to put out there, or to share content to put out there. So as we scrolled through my newsfeed a few minutes ago, we saw things like blog posts, we saw things like photos that people had shared, we saw articles that people had shared, all different kinds of things. And these are all things that you have the ability to share on LinkedIn as well. And I'm going to encourage you to do that. Dr. Penoir here, just at the top of my newsfeed, has given an excellent example of sharing, and I see that Zoe likes it, excellent example of sharing where he has given us a little blurb that he has written himself. He has put some hashtags in there to make his post more visible, and he has shared a link with a beautiful photo from that website that people can click on and be directed to in their browser. So this is a great example of something that you can share. Some other examples of content that you can share are, again, articles that you read other places. So if I pretty frequently, I find articles on the Muse about career development that I'll share on LinkedIn, or right before our career fair, we were pushing that registration link really, really hard. And so I was sharing that on LinkedIn. I have shared photos from when employers have come to visit campus before, and we had a good time, and they've been interacting with you all. And I've posted photos of that before, and other articles or blog posts that I have found. So again, let me just hear some feedback from y'all. What are some other things that you've seen on LinkedIn that you've been like, yeah, that was actually really good to share? Anybody? Anybody?
I actually haven't really used LinkedIn before.
Okay.
So everything is helpful to me.
Awesome. I understand. I totally understand. Totally understand. Well, so the last thing I want to do is I want to give you all an example of posting on LinkedIn and a thing that you can post on LinkedIn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post about what we're doing right now. So I am going to say, had the pleasure of presenting some LinkedIn tips to Walker College of Business students. So in order to connect this post to more things, I'm going to tag the Walker College of Business at Appalachian State University. And you do that by clicking the @ and then LinkedIn will start suggesting things to you. So I'm going to say, had the pleasure of presenting some LinkedIn tips to Walker College of Business at Appalachian State University students this evening for such a time as this. And then I'm going to link in here where they can find a presentation about LinkedIn after this. So if you missed this, no sweat. To watch later. And then I am going to go here to businesscareers.appstate.edu, go to our webinars page, and I am just going to link this page because I know it will later be linked down further on this page. I'm going to paste that there. And once you paste that link, LinkedIn will automatically take a screenshot or a part of the screen and the link for folks to click and put it on the post to where actually now I can go through and delete this and it will be much prettier that way. The next thing I want to do in order to maybe facilitate some conversation on this post, I have no idea that this will work, but I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to say, what is your favorite LinkedIn networking tip? And maybe some people will answer on this post. I'm connected to a lot of recruiters. I'm connected to a lot of other career coaches, also just young professionals that are kind of in the same stage of life as I am. So we will see if any of them have anything to say. The last thing I want to do is add a couple of hashtags. So here looks like career development is really, really applicable. Not sure about technology or anything like that. Another hashtag that I think I want to add is profile creation or profile building. What other hashtag do you think would be appropriate for a post like this? Okay. If not, that's okay. I'll leave it at that.
Maybe like growing your network or something, or
growing your network. I like that. Grow your network. Love it. Love it. So I'll go ahead and post that, and that'll be something that will be out there for folks to see. Alrighty, y'all. Any questions while we're still here looking at the LinkedIn site? Anything else I can show you? Anything else you want to see? Anything else we can kind of go through together and see where you can find it while we're all still here?
I have one.
Yeah.
So should we like, I guess how often like should we post, or like should we even post if we're not even like working in the industry we want yet, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the amount of times to post, I think are really, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. The amount of times to post, are, I would say, no more than once a day But I would say for where you are now, if you're able to post something every week or every couple of weeks, that could be really beneficial. Even if you're not working in the industry yet, I would absolutely encourage you to go ahead and start posting things. And it doesn't have to be anything original. Like I just showed you, it can be an article that you read something else. It can be something that you saw somebody else post and you share it. It doesn't have to be something original. It doesn't have to be your own photo that you're giving a caption to, but absolutely, I would encourage you to start posting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have an etiquette question, Annie.
Yes.
So on LinkedIn, like my feed, it's way different from like other social media feeds because I'll get posts that are like 3 to 2 weeks old.
Okay.
So like I'll still, I guess I'm asking, like I've had other people interact with posts that old. So
Mhm.
like, is that kind of like the norm? Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think that's a nervous thing, like when you're starting to use it.
No, that's a really good point. That's a really good point because I mean, my also inclination would be like, do they think I was creeping on their LinkedIn profile and like scrolled back a month? But no. I would say it is a different, there is a different kind of social understanding with LinkedIn, right? On multiple levels and for multiple different reasons, like the content you're sharing, the purpose of the site is a lot different than other social sites. So therefore the social understanding and the norms are also going to be different. So if you see a post pop up on your news feed, and even if it's from a couple weeks ago, if you want to interact with it, still say congratulations, still say this is a great thought, whatever it may be.
Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Any other questions? Things we can chat about?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I keep seeing like notification talking about like saying that you should congratulate someone or like say happy birthday.
Yeah.
Do you encourage people to do that to people you never talked before? And you will have to like send them direct message.
That is a great question. That's a great question. I would say those types of things, I would reserve sending those types of congratulations or happy birthday to people that you do know. But when it comes to interacting with other content like we've talked about, absolutely go ahead and like or celebrate or support that content, even if you don't know them. But I certainly understand if you're not comfortable reaching out personally to say, congratulations to you, I don't know, on this job. You don't have to take every notification suggestion to interact with the post. Definitely not.
Okay. Do you think it can be a way to start a conversation with someone you have always wanted to talk to, but you never talked to?
Yeah, I think that could be, yeah, definitely. Especially the job anniversary one or the promotion one, saying congratulations. I would love to hear more about your journey at this company, or I'd love to hear more about your time at this company. I definitely think that could be a great segue to a conversation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Comments? Thoughts?
How would you go about posting a new opportunity? Like, I see people posting about their new jobs or internships, but I just got a new one and I'm contemplating on posting it or not.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I see those all the time too, like so excited to have an internship or so excited to be here this summer or something like that. I think that that's a great option. So sometimes I see people, with a picture outside of the headquarters. You probably don't have that at your disposal at this point. But go ahead and make a post. Be sure to tag that company. Another great strategy if making that type of post is if there is a recruiter that has really played a crucial role in your being connected and in your interview process, saying shout out to Sally Sue for making the process and becoming part of this team so enjoyable, or shout out to so-and-so and so-and-so, can't wait to be a part of your team. Those types of things. And again, tagging those people, if you're connected with them, tagging that company so that that content shows up on their radar as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right, so I'll stick around for the next 10 minutes or so, but that's the content we've got planned. Before you leave, if you will, in the chat box, put your App State email address, the full thing. So like mine would be loveam2@appstate.edu. Go ahead and put your full email address in there. That way we'll have attendance for your class. Cough, cough, you Walker Fellows. I'll give it to Jackie. Alrighty. And again, if you have no questions, once you plug your email in, please feel free to go. And this will be recorded and put on the website later as well. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for your interaction, y'all.
Thank you, Annie.
Yeah.
I had a question. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm a freshman, but I just joined because in the future I'm looking to just kind of work for myself and become an entrepreneur, but I have to start working for a little bit at least. So like what would be like, do you have any other tips or advice you'd give just for like me being a freshman starting out?
Sure. Have you created a LinkedIn profile yet?
Yeah, I just made one while we were talking.
Awesome. I love it. I would encourage you to go to our website. So that same business careers I want to keep wanting to say but it's businesscareers.appstate.edu. If you go there, we have some resources that are specifically about LinkedIn profile creation. So I would definitely encourage you to start there. I would encourage you on LinkedIn to put whatever experiences you already have. So whether those are part-time experiences or anything like that you've had in the past, to go ahead and start practicing putting those on there. And that way, the more you become involved on campus here at Appalachian, the more part-time jobs, the more internships you have, you'll already kind of be in the groove and practice of adding those things to your profile.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Great question. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions, friends?
I was just sticking around to say hi, Annie.
Okay.
See if you want to chat after, but
If
anyone
that's
else
what's
can ask their
happening, then I'm
question.
going to stop recording.
Yeah.